Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams show. It's creepy time. That's me talking. Do you see my mouth moving? No? What? I've lost a lot of weight over the weekend. It is Halloween time. We are ready for you and ready for the kiddos for Halloween. Yes, this is how we're going to do the show today, I think. Maybe the whole thing. What do you think? We decorated for Halloween. We are super ready for it. Hopefully you are as well. And you might need your umbrella this week, and especially on Halloween. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. Hope you're all having a great start to your day. We've got a little news you can use. We've got some sports news. And if I had time, we would get this video ready for a Hail Mary pass that I cannot believe was caught and actually changed the outcome of one particular game in the NFL. If any of you had a chance to see it, it was between the Bears and the Commanders, and it was 25 seconds when the Bears had scored, thought they had sealed the deal, and then a Hail Mary pass ends up putting the Commanders on top. It was a miracle. It's unlike anything you've probably ever seen before, so you might want to go out and try and check on that particular video. But we've got some local St. Louis Blues, Mizzou, Illinois sports, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs that we'll get to in just a second. And again, as we mentioned, you might need an umbrella. We'll be talking with you and looking at your comments throughout the show as well. And then our Medical Monday segment has to do with cancer research, funding private research. We'll be talking with a representative from the American Cancer Society and a woman we've had on the past, Kira Andersen, and her fight to fund private research after losing her husband to pancreatic cancer last year. We'll get to all of that, but first, let's do your What the Weather segment.
Alrighty, welcome back into this new more weather forecast video. This one has been looking significant for a couple of days. So
good morning to you.
Good morning, Monica.
Finally.
Nice to be here.
And our segment is with our aspiring meteorologist, Beckett Moore. Hopefully, Beckett had a great weekend. Good morning.
Yes, I did. Good morning. How are you?
I am good. I hope you had a great one. I know you had a big birthday. And did you have a good golfing day?
Yes, it was great.
I hope you did good on the course. So we are looking forward to Halloween. I know all the parents are talking about it as well, whether or not they need to change the idea for the kids' costumes. Do they need to have umbrellas, things like that. So let's see how things are looking forward to Thursday, but we got to get through the next few days. It's almost going to feel like summer again, isn't it, Beckett?
Yes, it is, but then we're going to have that cool down as we head into mid this week. But this morning we got a temperature of around 51 degrees and mostly cloudy skies, and then as we head into this afternoon, getting up to 77. That's way above average with continuing with those mostly cloudy skies. Now, looking at the 7-day outlook, 77 again as our high today with mostly cloudy skies, low of 64 or 67. Tomorrow, as we head into Tuesday, 84 degrees as our high, getting into the low 80s as our high. That's just unheard of for this time of the year. Keeping with those low 80s as we head into Wednesday, that cool down comes through as we head into Thursday for Halloween. But we also do have that rain coming with the cool down, high of around 64 and a 90% chance of rain. For right now, that rain does look like it's going to be throughout the day, but move out as we head into the evening hours, meaning mainly as we're trick-or-treating. That could be when we don't have the rain around the area. So if that forecast holds, we're not going to really have as much rain in the evening. It looks right now more like a morning, afternoon tapering off as we head into the evening, but we'll see if that forecast does hold. Then as we head into Friday, that sunshine starts rebounding with a high only around 60. That's actually below average. And then warming up just a bit for Saturday and Sunday, setting those clocks back. Actually on Sunday, I have it on Saturday, but really on Sunday is when we will fall back in our clocks, and 7 degrees as our high with more rain chances, but we do need the rain since we are in a drought.
Yes, it's been absolutely crazy. And I know a lot of people, Beckett, have been taking their drives around Grafton and Augusta and Washington, Missouri, looking for the beautiful colors. So do you think with the rain we have this week, it's just going to knock all those leaves off?
Yeah, I do think that will be a problem. We're also expecting some pretty windy days as we head into this week. So I do think a lot of leaves are going to get knocked off today or this week, unfortunately.
All right, well, maybe just the last couple of days, but yeah, windy, breezy, and rain in the forecast, all of that. Beckett, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day at school, and we'll see you again on Friday.
Thank you. Sounds good.
All right, that's aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. And if you're just tuning in, yes, that's me. It's how things look when you have a rough weekend. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get real with you. We're creeping it real this morning. We've got some news you can use, sports, and then we'll get into our Medical Monday segment. Don't go anywhere.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
Monica's show. It's very informational, but more importantly, inspirational.
People such as myself and others can come out and talk about real issues that are taking place in our communities.
These are amazing, really, really important topics that don't get discussed enough.
It really just promotes people who are making change and doing good in their lives.
All right. Good morning. It is 7:09 and just having a little fun with you. Did you enjoy that this morning? If you're just now tuning in, you missed the skeleton. He might make an appearance again. Thank you to Michelle Harmon coming in with me yesterday, decorating the set for Halloween. It looks really super cool and spooky. Let's get into some news for you. Some long lines have already been seen. So if this is any indicator, just know what's coming next week. We are 1 week and 1 day away from Election Day. But early voting has already taken place. Absentee ballots coming in as well. The long lines and the days for the early voting have all shown equal long lines, except for Saturday. So there is a website that you can check when the lines are at their longest. I gave a link to Hannah. She's going to drop it into your comments if you're on Facebook or YouTube or X right now. We'll drop that in. That's at least for St. Louis County for you to check on when the days are the longest, the times the longest, and maybe when you can go for the best early voting. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see. Thousands have already turned in for their early voting and absentee ballots. So wonder if that will actually shave off some of the times when you go to the polls on the official election day, which of course is next week. We always want to do follow-ups to stories that we drop in for you. And one of them has to do with McDonald's. You know, we told you about a week ago about the E. coli outbreak affecting many, but the numbers continue to go up. We're now talking about 22 people that have been hospitalized, and I looked, 4 of those in Missouri. The deadly outbreak of E. coli poisoning tied to McDonald's Quarter Pounders, and it's expanded now with at least 75 people sick in 13 states. I did look, and there's been one lawsuit that's been filed so far. That's out of Colorado. I think that's probably just the beginning. Now, originally they were saying no source of the outbreak had been identified. However, McDonald's officials said that a California-based produce grower had recalled the onions that were used for possible E. coli contamination. Investigators focused on those slivered onions. They are now putting the Quarter Pounder this week back on the menu, sans onions. This is actually something that I've been mentioning for the last 3 to 4 weeks. Is anybody else concerned by the listeria and the E. coli outbreaks? It just seems like every day we're talking about it. Do you remember we talked about the listeria outbreak with Boar's Head? Well, this is an interesting turn of events. Schnucks now pulling Boar's Head from their stores, making a change to what customers will see in the deli section as the St. Louis-based chain is ending its partnership with Boar's Head. They are teaming up with Dietz and Watson to offer meat and cheese now. That brand is also carried at stores like Straub's and Walmart. The moves comes after the deadly nationwide listeria outbreak was linked to Boar's Head products. So Dietz and Watson products will start showing up on Schnucks stores shelves next month in November, and a full conversion is expected by December. By the way, more fast food chains are removing onions from their menus amid the E. coli concerns with regards to what just happened with McDonald's. So now I'm seeing fast food chains like Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC all taking out fresh onions from their meals at some locations. Again, weigh in and tell me what you think about all this. I think it's very concerning. I'm not going to do a conspiracy theory, but I just think in all my years of doing news, I've never seen so many stories day in and day out of listeria and E. coli. So concerning to me, just saying. All right, let's honor our first responders. Obviously, my favorite first responders right there. Today is National First Responders Day, and if he and the men and women in our law enforcement, fire, etc., want to go into Krispy Kreme, well, they're going to honor them. You can get a cup of coffee and a donut absolutely free. No purchase necessary. Also, by the way, on Halloween, if you go into Krispy Kreme in costume, they're going to give you a free donut. So for our first responders, just go on in shop or drive through, by the way, as you are honored for National First Responders Day. All right, let's get into some sports. First of all, Mizzou has slipped again in the top 25 poll. They are sitting right at 25 after being annihilated by Alabama. And I do mean annihilated. I don't even want to talk about that game. It was hard to watch on Saturday, was it not? Illinois, by the way, they're sitting at 24 on the AP list. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the only team in the NFL that is undefeated at 8-0 after their win over Las Vegas. They won 27-20. And I was mentioning it before, but if you just tuned in, did you see the game against the Bears and the Commanders? Again, it literally went down to the final second. Normally a Hail Mary pass is thrown and you just throw it up and you hope somebody catches it. It literally went right into the Commanders. They call it the breadbasket. Right into his hand, ran right into the end zone to beat the Bears. The town went nuts. The Bears were stunned because they had just scored a touchdown thinking they sealed the deal with 25 seconds left. Too much time on the clock, though, for Washington. I'm seriously, you got to see this. It's one of the most miraculous plays I've ever seen. And then we'll talk about our St. Louis Blues. They're not in action tonight, but they are on the ice tomorrow night. The puck will drop for them at 6 p.m., and the Blues will be taking on the Senators. All right, there you go. All up to date for you. And let me just say good morning to those of you that are tuning in. Diane said, yay, Chiefs. Matt, good morning to you. It's been an early morning currently en route to Cincinnati. Well, Matt, please be safe. Be careful out there on the roadways. There was a fatal accident, by the way. Could still be affecting our drivers on the Illinois side. It was in the eastbound direction, shutting down the ramp 5570 there at 64. And I do know that is a fatal. So try to give you some local news, but then also news that affects all of us. Good morning, Kathleen. Hope you have a great day as well. Good morning to Kathy, and good morning to Linda and Julie, Luann. Julie said you're looking too thin. That was the skeleton, I hope you were saying. Good morning, Kira. She's coming on with us here in just a second. I do want to give a quick plug to what we have coming up on December 8th. It is the Feel the Authenticity Workshop. We have sold half of the tickets so far. Limited tickets remaining for this wonderful event that will be held at Yenology, which again is in Frontenac. We're going to get you ready between the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, going into New Year's, to present the best version of you, right? We're going to do a workshop, a 2-hour retreat. You're going to get food, you're going to get drinks, you get to celebrate with us, maybe even have some goodies to walk away with. But more importantly, it is for you to finally understand how important it is for you to put your best foot forward and to stop thinking that you have to be somebody that you're not. It's time for you to understand the whole balance of mental, physical, spiritual health, and to go into 2025 unlike you've ever seen. And people are literally going to be stopping you to say, what's different about you? And you're going to say, hey, I went through this incredible workshop. So grab your sisters. Maybe you do a couple's day out. Maybe it's a mother-daughter, father-son. Again, just can't wait to meet you in person. So we have limited tickets available for this. Don't wait any longer. Go to TheRealMonicaAdams.com, click on the events calendar, and let's see you there. All right, we're going to take our break, and we're going to get into our Medical Monday as we discuss cancer research, the advancements. We have a representative first coming in from the American Cancer Society. Again, a woman who lost her husband to pancreatic cancer and her continued fight in his honor and what she needs your help with this week before Halloween. All of that coming up on Medical Monday.
One of our things we always say is we want everybody to leave with a smile.
Oh, and trust me, they do. I've seen a lot of smiles here today. There's so many levels of why you will love these ladies, but giving back to the community, supporting the community, collaborating with other businesses.
Base pace. Now we give parameters here. Power walkers generally use incline. Yeah, I know.
Go, girls, go!
Because you're not only getting some great local roasted coffee, you're getting good people.
Good people is what it's about. And by the way, that person who turned up their nose, karma is that you know what.
Everyone needs to be kind. And it starts really with the adults. And then it goes down because we're the ones that are instilling this in our children, in our families, and everything thereafter.
We are live on location. And this is the really cool thing. This is exactly what we can do from your business. We call it Mobile Monica. You know, I'm always on the move.
Come on, Monica. Let's go, St. Louis. Turn and burn.
Hello, Miss Monica.
Monica.
Hi, guys. This is a good one. Sometimes you spend like 10 years and you don't got one like this.
Hi, Monica.
It's a feast. It's like a 17-course meal. You're just like, you need a minute. With wine. With a wine pairing. And a whiskey pairing.
That is what. There it is.
I think I just had the most beautiful experience. I saw fireworks.
Thank you, Monica, for making our day.
And welcome back. It is 7:18. Thrilled to have you along with us again on multiple platforms. So if you have family or friends that you've been talking to about this show, tell them they can watch on Facebook, on YouTube, and an X this morning as we get into Halloween week. And we are talking about coming off a wonderful walk that a lot of you, I hope, had a chance to go to, making strides against breast cancer. We've been mentioning all month long that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Just last month, we were talking about Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. We also have a woman coming in this hour who has this continued fight after losing her husband to stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and I do mean at a very young age. If I mention the word cancer, all of us go, ugh, can we just find a cure, right? We say this over and over again, but it's all up to you to continue to bring awareness and help fund research. And we've got some of the most incredible physicians right here that we should be so proud of here in St. Louis. We talk about Siteman, Washington University, the doctors and the nurses and the medical staff here in St. Louis. We are very, very proud. I mean, literally people come from all over the world to see what research we're doing here and how it helps all across the country. We're going to talk about the American Cancer Society first, and then Kira Andersen, who's been on the show before, she comes in our second segment. So let's start off with Elizabeth Brown. Elizabeth is actually with the American Cancer Society, and Elizabeth is the Senior Executive Director. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me this morning.
So first of all, how did your walk go?
It was amazing. We couldn't have asked for a better day, a better venue, a better turnout. It was a full day of celebration.
Was it the most you've ever seen?
It was close. We're still finalizing numbers.
Okay.
We've had a few venue changes over the years, but I think we found our home at Union Station. And so it's a great day because people can come down for the walk and then spend a whole day celebrating St. Louis, right? So yeah, it was great turnout. The line kept going and going and going as we just watched them walk around Market Street.
That's good to hear because again, you always wonder and you are hoping for wonderful weather. We've been so blessed over the last couple of weeks of how gorgeous it was.
Oh my gosh.
When I knew you were holding it that day, I was like, oh, they've got gorgeous weather. They got this.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love to see, and you see it in these pictures, is all ages that come out, all people saying we got to come together because we need to eradicate this disease. You know, Elizabeth, I mentioned before that you can mention the word cancer and everyone right away goes to, yes, I've lost this person, or this person's fighting, I'm doing this in honor of. So what kind of stories did you hear at the Making Strides event?
Yeah, well, and that's something that we're so proud of at the American Cancer Society, is that, you know, the issue of health equity and making sure that every single person gets access to care. Every single person has the opportunity to get those cancer screenings, get their treatments, get to their cancer treatments is so vitally important, and walks like Making Strides help us raise critical funds to do that. We had Portraits of Hope who shared their stories with us this year, and they came from all walks of life. We had women that you know, were very young at age, under 40, who got diagnosed, women who are a little older, Black women, white women, Asian women, all telling their story of how their story came to life from their backgrounds, their support systems, what their story with the community and the healthcare systems offered them. So hopefully it educated and touched someone who could relate to them. That's the whole point, is they tell their stories so that someone else can relate and maybe be inspired and have the hope to keep fighting that fight.
Look, you know, that's what this show is all about. We always talk about hope, inspiration, light, knowing that there's darkness. When you go to a doctor and you hear those words, you have cancer, then it is, where are we here? Like, I can think back 30 years ago when I started in radio and then getting into television, looking at the advancements, where we've come in the last 3 decades. And it's come a long way. So you would hear different aspects of cancer. Oh, if somebody has this, well, not that you ever want to get cancer, but at least this is one that has a better success rate. I remember when my brother was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, and we were all so fearful. They came back and said, but this is actually a good thing of how far we've come. Where are we in breast cancer research?
So the American Cancer Society is the largest funder of research next to the government. So we're really proud of that. And it's by the generosity of donors. So we keep asking people to write those checks and donate so we can keep fueling that research you spoke of to our health systems right here. We are seeing increases. We have over 600 million survivors right now in breast cancer that, you know, since the 90s. So survivorship is increasing. We're also seeing an increase, though, in women under the age of 50 getting it. So we've had a 1.4 increase of women getting diagnosed under 50, and women over 50, that's only 0.7. So we're seeing some changes in cancer affecting people younger. So we're continuing to do the research to figure out why that is. But early detection and prevention is keeping women living stronger and longer, and so we need women to go out and get those mammograms.
I was just going to push that because, again, early detection saves lives. We can't say this enough. And Elizabeth, I am guilty of it. I always like to be real on this show. My husband said, did you get your mammogram yet? I know you're going to get mad at me. You're going to scold me. I haven't, and I don't know what it is because it is so easy to just go in. You don't even have to make appointments, and you get it done, and then you have that peace of mind. I think it's really that we always get so busy. How many times have we said this, Elizabeth, that women take care of everybody else before they take care of themselves? So go ahead. Say it to me and to every other woman that has put it off.
I'll make you feel a little bit better. I'm a single mom of 5 daughters, so I'm preaching, what I'm walking. One of my daughters statistically, is likely to get this diagnosis. And yet in February, I did 5 doctor's appointments because I felt too like I was a walking hypocrite. I said, I haven't done it for myself. So I went, I did it, I got my screening, make the appointment, get the mobile mammogram, call. It's so easy, and it really is so critically life-saving if we don't take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. Life-saving. That's what we're talking about today. Again, Elizabeth Brown, the Senior Executive Director with the American Cancer Society. And I was just going to ask, but it sounds like we still have a lot more investigating to do. But some of the numbers that I was looking at, again, under the age of 50. So I'm going to honor today a very dear friend, as well as someone that this community knew very well, Jen Myers, who was with Y98 for so long. Very eerie that she lost her life in this month, something she fought so hard for and fought herself. 8 years after being diagnosed, and leaves behind 2 young children, her husband, Ryan. Just again, prayers to her. And there's, I'm sure, going to be long lines today because today, this afternoon actually, is the public visitation. They will have private service for the family after that. But I hope that you come out in droves this afternoon to honor her. I'm sure you heard the news. And
I knew Jen. She was incredible.
Yep.
She's incredible. She was a giver more than a taker, and you don't find genuine givers in this world as often as you'd like. And even through her battle, she just kept giving back. She's incredible.
She was.
Our hearts go out to her and the family.
Absolutely. And again, only 49. So you were just talking about younger and younger. So, I mean, is there any early research that's showing why so many younger are being diagnosed?
So we have some of the best researchers actually through our Siteman Cancer Center and SLU. What we're doing is we've just launched a research study called Voices of Black Women. It's the largest study, and the whole intention of that study is to identify, particularly in women of color, why are they getting cancer and why are they getting diagnosed later? But they have a higher mortality rate too, so they're dying more often. So what we're doing is we all have the theories, but we need the science to back it up. So we just launched that study this year, and that's a direct answer to try and basically be able to say, why is this happening? Is it nutrition? Is it environment? Is it genetics? But we need to have the women sign up. So to learn more about Voices, just reach out to any cancer society, call and ask about how to get involved. It's an incredible study that's going to help us answer those questions.
And you were just seeing that again on the screen. Let's give that cancer.org and then 1-800-227-2345. It's not that you don't have access to the care. It is there, and more we're seeing that, but a lot of times it is what I just mentioned, which is somebody, whether it is a child or a grandchild or a niece, saying, hey, mom or grandma, you need to go get checked, right? This is what I'm hearing. I know when I was a little girl, we would hear these public service announcements. You don't see them as often as we did when I was a kid, but we need shows like this where we get it out there to say, if kids watch this or they hear this on a podcast later, because we have a podcast we drop on Thursdays, do they come back and go, hey, they were talking about your breast. Do you take care of them, Mom? And then have her say, well, I haven't gone.
Right.
And then, the kids sometimes have to push it.
Yeah, we need to be more comfortable talking about our bodies, talking about, and that goes for men, women, everyone. Men can get breast cancer.
Yes.
It really, we need to take away some of these like historical shadows of the shame and stuff of talking about our health, our bodies, and what's going on with them. The conversation needs to go beyond just, ourselves and our doctor, but our whole community needs to say like, hey, I give you permission to go take care of yourself. Yes. The world needs to give people permission to pause and take care of themselves. And part of that is doing, wellness breast checks exams, going to get your annual screenings for all the recommended things. And you can find all the recommended ages on when those screens are coming, on our website. Ask all the questions of what you should ask your doctor when you go into an appointment. All that can be found at cancer.org.
We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the ages of, is it earlier now that women are going in to get their mammograms? Is there a certain age where it suddenly is not every year? Should that be, is what the question is that I have. And then also, Elizabeth just mentioned about men getting breast cancer. Did you know that? I think that for a lot of people is, wait, what? Because you always associate it with women. We're going to talk about all this with Elizabeth when we return. We are live on location, and this is the really cool thing. This is exactly what we can do from your business. We call it Mobile Monica. I'm always on the move. Everyone knows about Jody's balls, and why is that?
I have the best balls.
Oh my God. You enjoying this?
Always.
Watch this, I gotta move with her.
Orange Theory is created to help people live a more vibrant life.
When we tell you that they have some of the most beautiful sunsets, we mean it. We're now in the brainchild of Adventure Unknown. That thing
Well, he's got a heck of a
beautiful.
story behind that leopard,
I
too.
know. It's going to be a very dangerous shoot.
It'll be
She says it
fabulous.
is. Monica or Mez Adams? How's that
Yes,
sound?
that sounds great.
This is Marianne Graff, owner of Just Be Kind Coffee House and Cafe. And you can see all the people in line. Oh, that handsome gentleman is... That would be my husband, Jim.
My mission statement says I want people to feel better leaving than when they came in.
And you do. Again, no calories when you're spreading kindness.
No calories when you're spreading kindness, especially if it's on the weekend.
Welcome back. It is 7:29, and you're tuned into the Real Monica Adams Show. On this Medical Monday, we are focusing on cancer research. And we're talking about women and men. Again, Elizabeth Brown, the Senior Executive Director with the American Cancer Society. And then later in this hour, we're going to talk with Kira Andersen. Kira lost her husband to stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She's been on our show in the past, but we want to see the fight that she's been doing in honor of her husband. And these last days here leading up to Halloween, the big push that she's trying to raise, which is incredible. And I hope that all of you can help her with that and then spread that to your followers to help as well. Let me just give you a little background here. Breast cancer, the most common cancer among U.S. women after skin cancer. Did you know that? And the leading cause of cancer death in Hispanic women. In 2024, an estimated 310,720 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed in women. Approximately 42,250 women expected to die from the disease. While rare, this year, 2,790 men will also be diagnosed with breast cancer, and 530 of those men will die from the disease. We went to the break saying, did you know that? That's a statistic that I think a lot of people are like, what? Really? Men?
Yeah, it's really interesting. We have a campaign called Men Wear Pink, and they're leaders in the community that get out and fight, and one of them is a breast cancer survivor. And he's been incredible to tell his story and share that this is not a women-only disease. It is a women-led disease, but it is not a women-only disease, which I don't think most people know.
And I'm just wondering, Elizabeth, that if a man gets diagnosed with that, obviously besides the fear and the anxiety that goes with the cancer diagnosis period, if there's a little bit of, I don't know, shame or hiding of, what do I tell people? I have breast cancer? Like they associate that with women. This is strange for me to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes the strength of a good support system to realize that, cancer doesn't discriminate. Men, women, black, white, Asian, age. I mean, it just, there's nothing you can do, and it's not personal, right? This is a medical issue that you just need. The earlier you have that conversation and the earlier you say, I'm going to get out there and fight this, like our dear friend Jen, right? Full forces, the better the chances are. So hopefully organizations like ours and a lot of the other organizations in the community can help wrap their arms around the fact that it is okay to have that conversation.
Well, and speaking of conversations, at the Making Strides event or any event where you're out throughout the year teaching aspects, what are the biggest questions that you hear? And by the way, go ahead and drop any comments in that you want to about questions you have with regards to whether it's breast cancer or any types of cancer. But what are the biggest questions you have from women with regards to what should I be doing? Besides the mammograms, self-exams are important.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, some of the biggest examples we get are, how much is health and nutrition actually affecting that? And we know for a fact that how we treat our bodies directly affects our risk for getting cancer or other diseases, and so that's super important. The other thing is basically treatments. So if I get it, am I going to have to get a mastectomy? The answer is there's a multitude of treatments that come with a diagnosis of breast cancer. Some require surgery, some require chemo, some don't. And so you just really have to get on there. And that's why we push people to go to that cancer.org, because there's literally what should I ask my doctor? And it's just a list of questions to help arm you with the education that your provider should be walking through hand in hand with you.
Well, Elizabeth, the problem is, and this is no matter what we're talking about with regards to medicine, it's always it happens, then suddenly it's this, oh my gosh, I better change the way I'm living my life. I wish, and as a personal trainer for so long, someone in nutrition, we always stress this. You've got to take care of yourself. Take care of your body, it will take care of you. If you don't, these are things that can happen. And the number one thing I always ask people to stay away from is so much sugar. We're always looking at sugar feeding cancer, and that's so scary.
Yeah, and we absolutely have researchers. We're bringing in just over $8 million right here into our own local Missouri researchers, and they are looking at genetics, nutrition, all those things so that we can start to clinically push through medicines and treatment plans to the public that will actually, increase survivorship or hopefully reduce our chances of getting cancer in general. But, we know these things. We did the study that launched smoking to lung cancer, right? That was the Cancer Society study that did that. We're hoping through Voices that we can find those same links that can kind of give people that tangible that they want, because people are better with hard facts, right? And so we're a science-driven organization. So we're hoping to link those faster and faster. And the more donations we have, the faster we can push that research through.
Well, and what we're hoping, Elizabeth, obviously, is if someone is diagnosed, that they don't automatically go into the mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm going to die from this. Instead, it is continuing to fund the research to say, okay, you've been diagnosed with whatever the cancer is, but here's your survival rates. Here's what people, again, women today, a lot less likely to die from breast cancer, but alarming disparities still remain, especially for Asian American, Pacific Islander, Native American, and Black women. That was according to the chief scientific officer at the American Cancer Society. So it is no one ever wanting to get cancer. But at least can we say every year or every 5 years or every 10 years, look how far we've come. I mean, that's why we're doing this show today.
Absolutely. And what we need to provide is that education, because as white women sitting in these two chairs, we do have probably statistically a better education and access to get those screenings. You might not have done it, Monica, but you know you're supposed to. And you know at 40 you're supposed to.
You talked about support systems, Elizabeth, right? My friend just wrote, because, Monica, you take care of everybody else before yourself. It's true. It's just so silly that I haven't had it. It's been, here's the deal, it's been on my calendar and moved forward
and you're
and
just
forward.
like 99% of the women in our lives. I was one until earlier this year. I was you. So there's no shame, no shame. But some, to your point, some of those groups that are showing not as successful numbers, they're not having these conversations like you and I. They are still, we need to do better of getting into our rural areas, our less urban areas, and educating them on the importance of getting those screenings.
Well, we talked about the mobile mammography, vehicles and stuff that people can go to. When did that first come out? Do you know by chance?
I don't know, but I know right now, to your point, everything, you just click of a phone.
Yes.
You can schedule those appointments. You can see where those vans are going to be, and every major health system has them. And then at ACS, we provide transportation grants. If you need access to get to that care, you call, and if you say, I want to do this, but I need a ride, we have a road to recovery program that can help get people to their appointments. So we're really trying to remove those barriers so that there is no excuse that someone can't get that appointment or that treatment they need.
Well, fantastic. But the last thing that I want to talk about before we bring Kira in is what I said going into the break, which is when women, from an insurance standpoint, are able to go and get their mammogram, that it's covered, and how early, because that's getting earlier and earlier from when I was in my 30s, 40s, and then we always hear about doing it yearly, right? But when does it switch to where it doesn't have to be every year? And is this a good thing?
Yeah. So right now it's 40 years old. The basic recommendation is if you don't have a history of anything, start at 40 years old and then every 2 years thereafter until you're in your mid-70s.
Okay.
So that's kind of the standard protocol. If you have a history of breast cancer in your family, if you've done genetic testing, and we have that through the ACS, so you can get on and look at maybe if you're at risk for some genetic testing to put you at risk, you can go to your doctor and get those screenings earlier. We have an organization called ACS CAN, or Cancer Action Network, and their whole job is to go and push legislation through at the local and national level to try and get insurance companies to loosen up some of these restrictions so that anyone can get that cancer screening if their physician feels like they're appropriate to do so. Not everyone can just walk in and get that cancer screening and get it covered right now. So that is a big part of our organization's push to remove some of those barriers.
Good. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, because we're sitting here talking about women in their 30s, and you're like, what? Well, they didn't get anything screened because they didn't have it covered.
Right.
Interesting. But
and
again,
healthcare is going to spend a lot less money if you let us catch it early.
Yes. And she's stressing, though, if you do have a history and you're in your 70s and you want to keep going, then you keep going because you have that tie.
Absolutely. Yeah. So some women in their 30s, if they have that history, talk to your healthcare provider.
Wonderful. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, congratulations on a successful.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing how much was raised.
Yeah, I hope so.
When you know that, let us know, because we love
numbers.
we love doing follow-ups. Again, if you have any information that you need, go to cancer.org. Everything that you need there. There's the phone number at 800-227-2345. I always love to hear the progress and the positive news. Never wanting to hear the word cancer, but look how far we've come and just how far we still need to go, but we can do it with your help. Did you get a chance to meet Kira?
I've met Kira.
Okay.
She's incredible.
Yes.
I'm a big fan. She came to one of our events, and it was great to see her out there. Her story is tragically sad, and yet she's using her pain for purpose.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. We
Wishing
just talked
her
about
all the best always.
Jen, everything that Jen Farmer, Jen Myers, as you knew her, everything that she did, even while she was struggling for those 8 years. And now we do it in her honor. We do it now for Kira. Kira's husband, again, you probably saw the show. If not, go back. It's a wonderful wonderful show that we did. But now we're going to take it forward. Where is she since she lost her husband with the continued fight, again, for research, private funded research as well, and what she needs from you. That's the reason I'm bringing her in this morning for a little follow-up. She's got this huge push that she's trying to do in the next several days before Halloween, that she's trying to get over the 1 million mark. We'll have Kira Andersen in a blue chair when we return. He wants to say, I can't believe I took your son's life. I don't know what I was thinking. I have so much regret and remorse. I've changed my life. Would you accept that apology?
I've never thought of that. Yeah. I would.
Do you think, because you talk about forgiveness, do you think that you all can ever forgive one another and come back together?
It wasn't just right. I'm not perfect. Just because my name is Bush, I don't have it all figured out. And I think they know that too.
I was cyclically depressed, so I could be the happiest person you ever met at 11 a.m. I could be on cloud 9, and by 7 p.m. that evening, I'd be sitting on a couch with a gun in my hand and thinking hard not to get emotional. I
never feel sorry for being emotional.
I really, I was at a space to where I couldn't believe that I had brought my children into this.
Where's the light? Because many of you probably feel that there's this darkness and there's this thunder cloud that's constantly over you. This family has dealt with so much.
Our journey is our journey. There has to be purpose in this pain. There has to be something more powerful. I have to find something to be blessed about every day. I have to count my blessings and have gratitude every single day.
We're at the Vault Luxury Resale in Brentwood, and I think this is going to be a very dangerous shoot, Diana.
It'll be
She says
fabulous.
it is.
We do costume jewelry. It's everything women want. Sometimes I want to grab a Kendra Scott earring or just a fun, untrend earring, but other times I want David Yurman, John Hardy, Tiffany. So we also have that.
Some beautiful costume jewelry, some really gorgeous high-end jewelry.
Yes. We have phenomenal cowboy boots. We have, Paige, Mother, all designer denim.
Luxury resale, not at the luxury price.
We, have every kind of high-end handbag. Woo. And everything from Bottega, Louis Vuitton, tons of Gucci, Chanel. We not only deal with people in St. Louis, we deal with, a lot of people in New York, celebrities in New York, Nashville, Beverly Hills.
Monica or Ms. Adams. How's
Yes,
that sound?
that sounds great.
All right, one more designer area.
Look at these. These are Chanel, Jimmy Choo, Prada, Gucci. We have everything from Steve Madden boots to Chanel boots.
They're going to love what you come back with.
Yes.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to yet another fashion show that we're doing with those ladies from the Vault. It's been a blast ever since. My husband always says, oh, here we go again. Now what are you bringing home? I love fashion. I've been involved in it for a long, long time. So those ladies do it right. That one's coming up for you again very soon in November. Check our calendar. And we're going to give maybe one, maybe even more than one of you an opportunity to be one of our models at that and to have that experience of a makeover. So the Vault's coming up for you in November. All right, 7:43. Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. We're continuing in our talks today on this Medical Monday about cancer. You just heard from Elizabeth with the American Cancer Society. You've seen my next guest on the show in the past. We want to see how things have been going since we had her on. So welcome back, Kira Andersen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good.
Looking pretty in pink.
Oh, thank you. Well, you've got pancreatic cancer purple on today.
That's right. Absolutely. I did this just for you.
Oh.
So if you didn't see the story that we did with Kira talking about her husband, again, she had loss, but what is she doing with the loss? That's the big story. Elizabeth and I were just talking about some people, they have loss and then they just go in a shell, and others rise up and say, I don't want you to go through this. So what can we do while we're here to honor those? And that's what you're doing for your husband. Let's just do a brief summary for those that did not hear our story before. You lost your husband to stage 4 pancreatic cancer last year.
Yes, April 3rd, 2023, he lost his life. Yeah, he was diagnosed October 24th of 2021 at the age of 47. At the time, we had a 4, 2, and 11-month-old. Yeah.
And those kids, still to this day, obviously, there you go, some beautiful pictures we have of the family. They ask about and talk about their daddy every day. That's one thing I didn't get a chance to talk to you about last time is moving forward.
Yes.
We don't say moving on, moving forward. How you do this, how you answer those questions to the kids, how you keep his memory alive. How hard is that?
Yeah, so you're right, Monica. It's an everyday conversation. So while Kyle was sick, I had Annie's Hope come to the house. They are an amazing organization. So they came and helped assist me in explaining to the children why Daddy was sick, what cancer is. So they really were involved almost the entire time. So my kids were very aware of what cancer was, what was happening, why Mommy and Daddy were gone at the hospital all the time. So since he's passed, again, it's just they have a really deep understanding of what cancer is and that Daddy's in heaven and that they're not alone. There are a lot of mommies and daddies that get cancer, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, every day, my son recently has been saying, he's been upset and he's been asking for his dad. And my son was only 11 months when he was sick. So really, and he was sick, Monica, as you know, he was really sick that first year of my son's life. We just diagnosed it really late. So we just keep the conversation going. We have lots of books about cancer. We have a therapist at their school that meets with my older two and talks with them about all sorts of things because things come up, right? Daddy-daughter dance.
Yeah.
Donuts with dad, and sometimes my kids watch other families where the mom and the dad and the kids, and it's hard for them. But unfortunately, it's a part of life, and it's a part of their life, and it's a part of their story. But they know all about cancer research. They know Dr. Keon Lim, Kyle's oncologist, his name. They know him, when they see pictures of him, it's just a commonality in our household, right? We talk about it. There's Dr. Lim. He is an amazing man. And
he's the head of GI at Siteman, correct?
He is, yes, he is. And he took on Kyle's case when everyone else was planning to put him on hospice.
Yep.
Dr. Lim walked into our hospital room and, said, no, let's give this a try against his colleagues.
Well, and that's what we need. We need leaders in our industry to do just that because if you saw the show that we did with Kira, it was all about, I'm not giving up. I'm doing whatever I can for my husband, my hero, our kids' hero. So what can be done? Unfortunately, Kira, there are so many people in life that hear something from our medical world and they take it as is. Correct. And then just crawl in a hole and then people are suffering. You said no. Dr. Lim said no. What do we need to do? And you fought and fought and fought for private funding, right, for the research, which is what you're doing now. You have raised how much to date? Over 300,000, right?
Almost 2 million to date.
Well, no, yeah, but for this fight right now.
For Pedal the Cause, yes. Last year we raised 300,000.
Yes.
I committed to 700,000 this year because if I'm able to raise that 700,000, that's $1 million total, and it will be directed to the GI team at Siteman, led by Dr. Lim.
So you are right now looking to, and I remember you saying, I know you all think I'm crazy, and there's just like big push, but if you don't put it out there and you don't ask, then you don't get it. So Kira said that she believes in her community, our area, that she can catapult beyond that number. So you have until Halloween.
Halloween, yes.
Is it midnight on Halloween? Or is there a certain time?
There's got to
Let's just say midnight.
Midnight on Halloween. That's right. Yep, we have to have the commitment. So if you're donating through your donor advised funds or sending a check-in, you just have to submit online your commitment to Team Kyle. We do have a little over $400,000 to raise, but I have some private donors that are calculating what they can do this year, and I encourage anyone else who truly cares about cancer research maybe their lives have been touched by cancer, they've lost somebody, to really think about the importance of private cancer research funding. Every dollar counts, and it truly matters. So yes, go ahead.
No, we're right now. I want to thank Hannah, by the way, moderating. Hannah is dropping in everything that you need for this. Here you go. I know that's a long address on the screen, so don't think you have to scribble that down. Hannah will drop that in for you so that you can help out. Again, Team Kyle, $400,000 that she is looking to raise from today through midnight on Halloween. I know some people wait to the last second, but one of the things that you just recently did on your Instagram post was no dollar amount is too small. So if you say, I can't give $1,000 or $100 or $50. So maybe your kiddos get together and say, well, I want to help. I don't want someone to not have a daddy. And so they say, I'm going to take my allowance, or I don't need candy for Halloween. Here, don't go do this. Right? It's so beautiful to watch what children will do when they step up and say, here's what we want to do. We want to help that family, because you look at your own blessings. That's the other reason why people give sometimes, is you count your blessings and you say, well, I want to give to this family that has lost.
Absolutely. And again, no amount's too small. It's a write-off. You can write it off on your taxes. And here's the other thing I want to mention too. So my husband, as you know, and likely the viewers do not know, my husband got compassionate use of a treatment. So what that means is a clinical researcher, Dr. Kira Andersen, had a research study in a lab that had truly amazing results, very promising results in pancreatic cancer, which is a very underfunded, understudied cancer. So he had some promising results in his lab. It's a long story, but we were able to get it into Kyle. The initial study was funded, Monica, by Pedal the Cause, which is why I've partnered with them. So what Pedal the Cause does is it feeds studies at the ground level. So they're in mice in the lab. Pedal funds the most promising studies so that it can get to another level and ultimately get into humans. So my husband lived another 12 months because of this compassionate use treatment.
Well, and one of the things that Kira had mentioned in the past show was we have these studies that are there, but they're not being pushed forward because they need funding.
Correct.
And if you think about that, that means that lives are being lost all because the funding is not there.
Correct.
I mean, if that's not a wake-up call to all of you, like, whoa, like the screech, what? So somebody's life could either be saved or you have longer with him.
And the quality of life
Correct.
is better.
Yes.
Because, for instance, Kyle's study, we didn't have to use as much chemo. So truly, the last 6 months of his life, his immunotherapy was he was up, he was moving, he was living life, and it's extremely important. And maybe it's not pancreatic cancer, right? Maybe it is breast cancer, or colon cancer, or another type of cancer. I encourage everybody to give a little bit. It doesn't need to be one person funding everything, but everyone give a little bit. This is a piece of information I want everybody to pay attention to. The NCI, okay, it's an arm of the FDA, National Cancer Institute. They are the #1 funder of cancer research. Now, Monica, their budget, of the government's budget, cancer research is 1%. Of the government's budget towards cancer research. That's not okay.
No.
It's not okay, because it's not enough.
Right.
Because there are a lot of promising studies right now waiting for funding. So we need to gather together, pick a cancer, maybe it's not pancreatic cancer, and fund it. Everybody give $20. Everybody give $100, whatever you can give it. And I promise you, we will move mountains, but we got to do it together. And it's the awareness that we need to know that, we cannot rely on the government to fund cancer research. We just can't. People are dying. Cancer is on the rise. Right. Pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, and it's all because of what we're eating and drinking. I heard you talking to Elizabeth.
I say it all
about
the
this.
time.
Correct. And even Dr. Lim, I had him on the show on last week. I talked to him live, and he said, "You are what you eat."
Oh, of course. The problem is, well, we'll take a break here. This is the whole show that I've been talking about. So the girl who does my hair, she and I, every time I sit in her chair, she goes, "Go, girl, would you just keep preaching about this? I need you to understand what we're talking about. Kids to adults. If you do not concentrate on what you are putting in your body, then your life is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. We're seeing the problems now with young kids. I mean, I remember when I got into the news business, our childhood obesity rates alone, and now those have skyrocketed. And the kids are not out there buying the food, so who's putting it in their mouths?
Correct.
That's the thing that I'm frustrated about. But we're going to take it beyond the obesity epidemic that we have. We're talking about younger kids getting cancer or a myriad of problems that they have, and it all comes back to our food. I'm getting ready to go to Europe on a business trip, and everyone has said, Monica, you're going to feel so different because there aren't all of the preservatives and all the problems that we have here. You can eat bread over there. Why everything's fresh? It's not sitting on shelves and let's just pump things in. That's the problem that we have. And then it in turn turns into what we're talking here, cancer, sugar, feeding cancer, right?
Totally.
I know we're in the week getting ready to go into Halloween and you're going to be like, well, the kids want candy. Fine, just give them a little bit and then be done with it.
Exactly.
Like, don't have them hoard this big thing of candy.
You got to
All
limit
right,
it.
we're going to take a quick break. Again, Kira Andersen, we're talking about funding private research to save lives. In fact, I want her to reiterate the quality of life and how she truly believes that he would still be here today if this funding would have been if this research would have been funded, and just be aware of that, because if you've got someone right now, or it is actually you that's diagnosed with cancer, and you're thinking, well, wait, there's something out there, but it's just sitting there. Yes, that's the wake-up call. We'll again give you the link that you need to help her with her goal this week. I know that you're a very giving community, so we'll have more with Kira when we return. Welcome back, 7:56, and again, it's Medical Monday. These are the days that I get so lit up. You know, I've been involved in the health field and was actually studying to be a doctor before I went into broadcasting, and it's why I really wanted to make health, fitness, wellness, medicine such a big part of this platform. So we're talking about cancer research funding. And Kira Andersen, again, who lost her husband Kyle last year to pancreatic cancer. But you've said this in past shows, and I see it in some of your posts, that you truly believe that he would be here.
Yes.
Say why.
Because the treatment that he ended up getting about 5 months into his cancer journey had been submitted for funding several times. Okay. It was pushed back because of needle size, something very minuscule. So what it did in the lab was it completely eradicated the cancer, the pancreatic cancer in those mice. By the time I got into my husband, his tumor marker was through the roof. Okay, Monica? He started it in March. By December of 2022, his cancer was non-active. We're talking about a man who came in with a completely constricted colon because of his tumor, had wrapped arms around his colon and completely closed it. Okay, he couldn't pass anything up or down. Again, all of Dr. Keon Lim's colleagues said, this is a hospice case. Why are you even giving it a shot? So finally we get that treatment into Kyle, and it goes from extremely high to extremely low. He ended up passing away because of some side effects from that initial treatment. Okay, so if that study had been funded, $3 million is what it takes to fund a phase 1 study, essentially. Okay, so if that study had been funded years prior, when it was initially presented to the NCI, Kyle and many others would have gotten that at the first sign of disease. Okay, so when he went in. And what this treatment does is it basically softens the coating around the cancer cell, allows you to use a smaller amount of chemo, okay, because we know chemo kills everything, okay, everything. And it allowed immunotherapy to work, which Kyle was not a candidate before. And just so everyone knows, immunotherapy is making huge strides in cancer treatments, okay? So after a few months of that initial treatment, we were able to back off the chemo, and just Kyle's immune system was killing the cancer. So if he would have gotten that at initial diagnosis, his his system wouldn't have been as compromised, I believe that he would still be here because he wouldn't have had to have so much chemo, because that's essentially what killed him.
And so that's what she had talked about before, and here we are continuing to talk about that, because she was like, well, let's fund this study of one, right? Let's do this. And then it allowed him to stay here longer. But if it had gotten earlier, would maybe allow him to have still been here. That particular study, so from that was able to be funded, where is that particular one right now?
So I'm so glad you asked. So we actually got compassionate use, which means we didn't have to pay anything, okay? We still have a fund that we started to raise money because I committed to Dr. Lim $3 million. I said, I will find you $3 million. So right now, it actually is in studies run by the FDA and the NCI. So it's a good news, right?
Absolutely.
So what happened was all eyes were on Kyle's study because people from all over the world were privy to this information. All these scientists and researchers, they were watching Kyle the whole time and amazed by the amount of reduction in his tumor numbers, his tumor markers. So now it's a multi-center study. There's 12 to 15 patients on it right now, but here's the problem. It's a good and a bad thing. The NCI wants to make sure it's safe, right? So they're only allowing 2 of the 3 medications in patients right now. So chemotherapy and the study drug. It is allowing less amount of chemo, right? Because you don't have to use as much chemo if the coating around the cancer is softened, because that's a problem with pancreatic cancer. It's very tough to penetrate. So 12 to 15 patients, they're all over the country. But the problem here is Dr. Lim's research, Dr. Lim doesn't even have any patients in that study because people from all over the world are dying to get their patients on. So if it opens up, people shoot right in there. So there's not even any patients here in St. Louis, which is why if we can raise $1 million this year, Dr. Lim will be able to start a study here in St. Louis with 50 to 60 patients on something similar, not the exact study, but something similar that's as efficacious.
I know a lot of times when people hear about fundraising, they always go, okay, I used to do a radio drive for WIL for St. Jude. And the hardest thing is people would go, well, why am I going to fund something for something in Memphis? The reason why is because of the protocol, and what is funded is used all over and right here in our area. So yes, when we're talking about, and we're going to put the link up here for you again to help Team Kyle, it is funding so that it can help us. There we go, Pedal the Cause. Again, for the Team Kyle, there's the link, by the way, at the bottom. We're talking about this week, as much as we can possibly help her. I want you to take the show and I want you to share this with your followers to say, hey, I just donated. Can you help donate as well? Because Kira's on this fight to save lives. Again, $400,000 in the next 4 days. But you've got some anonymous donors that have stepped up also. Is there somebody that wants to do matching?
Yes, there is someone that will match up to $100,000.
There we go.
And I do have a couple of anonymous donors that are calculating how much their business and their personal, they can donate. So again, any amount would be amazing. And I want to point out here, every single dollar fundraised goes directly into the doctor's hands. Pedal the Cause does not take
every penny
that is donated. The whole organization, Pedal the Cause, is underwritten. Edward Jones is one of the big sponsors. Thank you so much, Edward Jones, for allowing this to happen. But every single dollar fundraised goes directly into the hands of the cancer researchers. And $1 million to the GI cancer program at Siteman would really do wonders.
Absolutely,
and the time is now. There is urgency to this because GI cancers are on the rise. It's because of what we've been eating. It's because of what we've been drinking. And truly, you guys, it matters what we put in our bodies, right? Like right now, we can change from this day forward. Let's all commit to being more cognizant of what we're putting in our bodies.
Well, we're in a time when, anybody that's in the health and fitness business, we all, as trainers or dietitians, nutritionists, doctors, nurses, everybody always goes, okay, it's almost the beginning of a new year. All right, I'm going to commit to a New Year's resolution. And it's like, I'm doing it. They look in the mirror from an aesthetic standpoint. How about you start unzip? I used to say, I wish we could just unzip our bodies and see what you're doing on the inside. I think that may be more of a wake-up call for you instead of, I want to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds. I want you to drop that. She wants you to drop that. But it's more so because we want you to get rid of it and start cleaning up the way you're eating and start teaching the kids. Sometimes I think the kids are more educated now than we were when we were younger, that they come home and say, when you're grocery shopping, Don't buy that. Don't put that in the cart. Do you know what this is doing? Keep teaching the kids that.
Absolutely.
And they can turn and say, Mom, Dad, don't feed me this.
Absolutely. It's all for future generations, right? I look at my kids and their kids, and I want them to grow up with a cleaner plate, right? So this is what I teach my kids and I tell my clients. Think about fueling the good cells, fueling your muscles, right? Instead of the bad cells. You know, a lot of times people just eat what they can, something easy, but that's not fueling your body.
Correct.
And if you're not fueling your body, that stuff is excess. So people that say, oh, you know, the word fat, right? I hate to even say that. You're not fat. Maybe you have extra fat on your body, but guess what? You can do something about it.
Yes.
There are lots of options. And like you said, sugar does feed cancer.
It does.
I don't care what you say, think, what you've heard. It does. And this week being Halloween week, like you said, let's limit our kids, right? Feed them a good meal before they go out and trick or treat. Limit it to 2 or 3 pieces because we're not going to have control over what other people are putting in our kids' trick or treat bags, right? But we can control what we give out, and we can make sure our kids have a good meal and are hydrated before they go out. And also with school, right? Like they're going to be getting candy at school. And this is something I want to talk to you about and I've talked to my school about, which I adore my kids' school, but you know, we're celebrating birthdays. It's Halloween. They're having sugar at the beginning of the day, right? Mid-morning. And then they're expected to behave the rest of the day. You know, ADHD is on the rise. All these, you know, what do you call them? You know, these type of things. You know what I'm talking? ADHD.
ADD and ADHD.
All those things.
Both.
Autism are on the rise, right?
But autism, and this goes back, I think, at least 20 years ago, where I did a story and I literally had this huge wake-up call of, whoa, wait a minute. And the doctor so casually passed this comment he made, and I was like, hold on one second. Did you just say that we have families coming over? At the time, it was like Washington County, Franklin County, all to come in to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, I think it was Whole Foods at the time, all for their food, and then bringing it back home, driving an hour and a half, 2 hours for children who were diagnosed with autism. And then all of a sudden they saw these advancements in them by the way they were eating. And I just got to chill again. I sat there and went, oh, hold on. Don't just brush over that.
Right.
Pause for a second. Understand what they just said. Now, fortunately, we've got more grocery stores that have more healthy food, where that's in the last 20 years, it wasn't really the case. They didn't have access to it in some of the rural counties. So they were coming in, and then it was, wait, you're saying that there's changes in their autism because of the way they're eating? Hello? Again, how many times do we have to wake you all up on it? All links back to what you are putting in your body.
Correct. And we're not saying it's going to completely eradicate any sort of, you know, ADHD, but we're saying it will help, right? It will help kids in school. And also, as far as a lot of people say, well, it's expensive to eat healthy, but if you're actually fueling your body with real food, you're not going to want to eat all that junk because that junk is not actually fueling you.
People make that comment and it just makes me laugh, but you have no problem to go through drive-through. You have no problem to spend $9 on a coffee at you know where, and I'm going to give them a plug.
Okay, sorry.
So, oh, you just said it. Never mind.
Sorry.
I think I talked over you. Maybe you didn't hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's true. You all know. You all know where it is. You don't have a problem with that. But you then come back and go, oh, wait, how much is asparagus? How much is broccoli? Oh, that's expensive. Nobody said you had to have organic. If you are looking at all the pesticides and the things that are sprayed, maybe you have something and you clean it off. Make sure you clean off your vegetables. Okay, I just talked at the beginning about the Listeria and E. coli outbreaks.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody thinks this is strange? Every single day we're talking about another restaurant or another thing in our grocery stores. I don't know. I want to keep looking into that because it seems very strange to me over the last several weeks that every single day there's another one, and another one. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, Monica, I'm with you. And
we need to dig into this.
I'm researching in our area local farms. See if we can buy, the eggs from the local farms, chicken, beef, all those things. If you get close to the source, you're going to be much more likely to know that you're getting clean foods because those dyes, those pesticides are directly linked to cancer. Directly.
Well, it's the things we're putting in our body. It's also what's in our air. It's the cleaning products that you use. All of these. You've got to read labels. That's a future show that I want to do about how often do you read labels about what's in the environment as well as what you're putting in your body. All of these things, again, tying back to cancer and other diseases that we have. It's truly a wake-up call for each and every one of you. I just want you to keep talking about this, the communication that you need to have. All right, one more time. I want you to help Kira. That's why I brought her in to do a follow-up of how things are looking. So givesignup.org/Kira Andersen TheRealMonicaAdams.com/donate. But Hannah, again, has dropped this in for you to make it very easy. So from now through Halloween, she's looking for another $400,000 to continue to fund private research it needs, because as she said before, do not think that you can rely on the government to continue to help. And right now you might be walking along saying, oh, I'm fine, but then something changes. Her husband was here and then got diagnosed, and now he's gone. And now the kids are struggling without having a dad, right? Having to go through these things. So help her out. Hannah just put it in there for you again. Julie just said, Edward Jones, thank you for all you do for our community. Yes, absolutely. Congratulations to all those so far that have stepped forward to help out Kira. Remember, do what I asked, which is to share this show so that after you donate, others that follow you can say, yeah, I want to help this family as well. So Kira, I always wrap up with 100 Days to Freedom books from, right? It's our devotional at the end, so we tie in some faith at the end. One is from anger, one is from shame, one is from depression. We have fear and anxiety, and then we have overeating. Which one do you feel today?
Ooh, wow. Let's do anxiety.
Okay. See how many times people pick that one. And by the way, it's the one with the purple cover.
Of course it is.
We're going to do that when we return. Everyone knows about Jody's balls, and why is that?
I have the best ball.
Oh, wait. You know, it was interesting. Kira and I were just talking about ADD, ADHD, autism. So we're walking into Elemental Aesthetics. And a lot of you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to make my appointment to go get a facial, or maybe you want to do a laser treatment or IV hydration therapy, weight loss counseling, medical and non-medical. But this bed that I've been talking about that vibrates, it has vibration and music therapy. They are using that and seeing a help for those that have ADD and ADHD. Yes, it pretty much blows my mind. So on a future Medical Monday, I'd like to talk deeper about that. There you go. I'd like to talk deeper about that, as well as what they're doing from more of the medical side. Again, for those with hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormones. There are so many levels. So when you think of Elemental Aesthetics, I don't want you to just think of the aesthetic aspect of your skin. It's that and then some. So we have Jennifer Warman-Bloss and her nurse Tabitha coming in on our next segment, which will be next week. Those chairs, by the way, are for IV hydration therapy. That's the room I told you I love. Not only does it aesthetically look beautiful, but they are pumping in salt. It can do from, you think about the minerals, right? We need more of that to go back and strip it down to the minerals. Also red light therapy, that actually changes red, blue, purple. Let's stay with the purple light right there. Elemental Aesthetics, again, located in Creve Coeur. Make the appointment for you, or it's a great time to buy gift certificates as we go into the holidays. Let's do something for health and wellness. Suite 206, 425 North New Ballas Road in Creve Coeur, and that phone number, 314-279-6069. All right, we're in the wrap-up of the show, wearing purple. Kira picked purple. She didn't do it on purpose. She didn't know that it had a purple cover, but it all ties back to the color for pancreatic cancer awareness. This is day 48. We're almost halfway through 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. It's one that a lot of people choose. This one's called Fail Safe. The Word of God will never fail. This is Luke 1, verse 37. When we experience losses, unexpected challenges, or overwhelming circumstances, we begin to look for ways to live a fail-safe life. You know, we want a life in which nothing bad will happen. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world? So we can feel secure. Good luck with that plan, by the way. Life just doesn't work that way. Fail-safe describes the safety net that is built in so that if something bad happens, there's another way to prevent disaster. Wouldn't it be great for our lives to be that way, be fail-safe? As we go on high alert looking for help, resources, and safety, we can develop the illusion that we are prepared for the worst possible situation. We may be ready for action, but our lives still are not fail-safe. Because we're human, we know that nothing in this world is. We ultimately will face uncertainty and challenges in our lives. Yet in the midst of this, God's word never fails. It truly is the only fail-safe thing in our lives. When you know that God loves you, has a plan for your life, and provides a way of redemption, well, then you can rest in this truth. As you read God's word and you meditate on the scripture, you'll begin to know what God is saying to you and about the reality of life. No matter what you face, you will know God's way through his word. You will begin to trust God more and more every day. Elizabeth Elliot said, God is good because he is God. He is worthy of my trust and obedience. I will find rest nowhere but in his holy will, a will that is unspeakably beyond my largest notions of what he's up to. Tony Evans said, faith is taking one step when it's only one step, you see, simply because you believe God wants you to do it based on his word. It is taking a step without being assured of the destination, which is a hard one, isn't it? And Priscilla Shire said, having your spiritual radar up in constant anticipation of his presence, even in the midst of the joyful chaos and regular rims of your everyday life, is paramount in hearing God, because sometimes the place and the manner you find him is the least spectacular that you would expect. So here's your prayer for today. Heavenly Father, thank you for your faithfulness. Your word brings truth to my life, and I know it is trustworthy. You are an awesome God. Amen.
Amen.
Kira, did that help you a little bit?
Yes. It
See?
sure did.
We're trying to break freedom from fear and anxiety. And yes, we all would love to go along in life and believe that nothing's ever going to happen. But as we all know, we've had loss. And we're trying to prevent every day that horror that you feel when someone is diagnosed with cancer, and then what is their quality of life? What's going to happen in the days to come? That's what the Andersens have unfortunately had to work through and move forward without their loved one. And I know a lot of you have been there as well. So it's all about funding the research so that we can say, okay, someone's diagnosed with this cancer, but it's got a better survival rate. That's what happens on a daily basis with so many different types of cancers. So again, click on the link that we gave you in the comments. Hannah, thank you for moderating today. Thank you, Michelle, for decorating the set. Again, it was so much fun. Thank you to my team, Zach and Hannah, as well as Tia, working behind the scenes for you. We're all here for you, and we appreciate you showing up. Again, remember the way I wrap up every show, and it truly is so very important for you to absorb this. You can be anything you want in life. You can come together as a community. You can help out this family and help out yourself. But one of the greatest things you can do, which is what will happen as you donate, is to show her and her family kindness, and do that with each and every person that you meet with. Kindness goes a long, long way. God bless you all.